right, here's what we're working on today. We are working on 2011 6.7 F450. It's going to be the same as 250s, 350s, and even newer ones. Let me know in the comments right now what you drive. We all know that the Ford Powerstroke 6.7 is the best diesel ever made, but go ahead and comment now, right now, what you pull your race car with. We are going to delete the crankcase vent, which is that box right there. Okay, so what your kit comes with is the rubber hose, a couple block off plates, the piece that the rubber hose goes into. So after you remove your box, the places that the box bolted up, these caps are going to go on. Like I said, that's going to thread into this piece right here. It's going to thread into there, and then the line's going to go onto there. You've got these bolts. You got 3 of these bolts, which are 8 millimeters. Okay, so your 8 millimeters are the 2 on the back right there. Okay, you have one right here, and then you got one, you can barely see the silver around the corner. So you've got an 8 and an 8 back there on the back. Then you've got an 8 millimeter up here. Okay, so there's the 8 millimeter right there. And then down here, right there, underneath that connector is where there was a stud right there. Right down there in front of that magnet, there was a stud. There's that wire with the connector on it. There you go. Now you can see the bolt hole right there where my thumb's at. Okay, you got to rip this wire off. It's just a little plastic tab, and then that exposes this stud. Okay, this stud is a 10 millimeter. So you've got an 8 millimeter, a 10 millimeter stud, and then 2 8s back there. You need to take your fuel bowl and you'll undo the green clip, runs right here, and you'll undo this line right here. This squeezes together, this one squeezes together, the green one goes down, then it comes off. That one squeezes together and pulls off like that. Off your fuel bowl, which sits right there, this is what your fuel bowl looks like. Sorry, I took mine out, but there's your fuel bowl. Okay, so the lines are going to snap onto that, and you're going to move all that out of the way. Then you should be ready to pull out your box. But here's the part that nobody else tells you, is fighting with these things right here to get back here is a pain in the butt because of these lines. So here's what you do. You take your ratchet strap, you can see right here, I had originally looped it around it to itself and then it slipped, but it still bit. Hook your ratchet strap to these fuel lines, run it down through there, through your wheel well, let it drop down, and hook it down there and crank that thing, crank it down. Okay, these fuel lines have enough play in them, whereas if you're not correct too, you know, you can, they got some play where you can pull on them and get them out of the way. Hook the ratchet strap to that thing and pull it down. That will get that out of the way so you can get that back bolt, because everybody else's video, they fight with the bolts and they're hard to get to, but that's all you gotta do is just yank it out your way. The same thing, it will also make this bolt easier. It'll make this bolt easier whenever you're trying to get to the stud, because these fuel lines are yanked out of the way. So what I did to break this loose was, the very back bolt is a pain to get to. So all I used was my flex head ratchet with an adapter to step it down. Okay, and then I put an 8 on that. That allowed me to get back in there and just pop the bolt loose. Once I popped the bolt loose, I was able just to take my socket with my fingers and just turn my bolts right out. The front one, or the one that, the stud you can just get with a ratchet and extension, and then the other front one that goes right here, you can get with a little extension and a ratchet and a turn out with finger. That one up there you can get with a an extension and a ratchet. It's easy. That back one's the tricky one. A lot of people's videos leave out this little secret right here of using a ratchet strap to pull these fuel lines down. Also, when you go for the stud, sometimes your socket don't want to get on it because there's a little metal bracket. Let me see if I can show y'all real fast. I know this is annoying, trying to get all these angles. I'm just trying to help. So this metal bracket right here, okay, this one right here where my pointer is at, I'm tapping, this one right here will be in your way sometimes to getting a socket down in here. So all I did was I took my socket, put it over my stud, okay, put my socket over my stud, and then I actually bent the fuel rail down. That way I could go back in and get a nice turn. So I just bent that fuel rail metal down just a little bit. So should be able to now, and I did unplug, let's see here, you do have this line. You got this flexible line right here, which all it does is squeezes together. It goes right there, okay? So when you start, just squeeze it together like this and then pull it off, and then you tuck that back out of your way. This is gonna have to be moved because this line, the flex line that we just unsnapped, it goes right over there, and that's where that's got to be deleted. So you can undo this right here. I believe this is gonna be a 10 or 11. I haven't checked it yet, probably 10. And you can pull this one out, and I think we can just pivot this around without undoing that snap ring that's up inside there. But once you get these out of your way, then you should be able to do like this, take your lines, get your lines out your way. That's with some aggressive pulling that I just did off camera. It just popped and come right loose. So just like I said, 8mm, and then come on this side, and that's where you're gonna have your 10mm stud, and then you're gonna have an 8mm and an 8mm. Okay. All right, now your delete plate like this is gonna go right inside here. Okay, I'm gonna just take a little oil and put around the edge of the O-ring. That way it helps lubricate it up to go down in there. And you're gonna put that down in there. Okay, should sit in there like that. And now we're gonna put a bolt through it. And your Allen bolts, and for this kit it's gonna be a 3/16 Allen head. All right, so we're just gonna take our bolt and tighten it down. So I'll take you a dead blow hammer when you get a little bit of tension on it, just like that. Just tap it, and that's just gonna help it go down so you're not bending the ear. You don't want to bend the ear of the tab trying to get your bolt to pull it down in there, because then it's not gonna seal up and it's not gonna work. Okay, and you're just gonna put a little bit of force on it. You ain't gotta put a lot. It's just a, of course that always happens. It's just a plate. It don't gotta be torqued down, nothing crazy. Okay, then go down there and get your tools that you dropped. Okay, so the next one we're gonna do is this back one. So for this back one, I'm gonna wait to screw my piece on. Okay, I'm gonna just focus on getting the plate on first. And I'm actually gonna put a little Vaseline on this O-ring. So you got this O-ring here, and all I'm gonna do is just put a little Vaseline on it. Okay, I learned the Vaseline trick when I was building my transmission for the Mercury, because it doesn't mess anything up. So get your bolt started, and get your other one started. And this should just be vapors coming out of here, so you don't need to put thread sealant or anything on the elbow. And again, we're just gonna snug it, we're not gonna get crazy. And then I'm gonna take my piece, my elbow. Now look how nice, how much room there is to work now that I've got them lines ratchet strapped out the way. Makes it so much easier. And then we're gonna go right up through there. I'm gonna come with a clamp for the hose, which is no big deal. Like I said, you don't really need it. I'll try to route mine down back here. Okay, that's gonna be. So I'm gonna pull it up. And I'm gonna push it on from the top like that, and now I'm gonna feed it down as I turn it. That way it's tightening itself as I'm feeding it down. There you go. All right. So you see how that swung around? I was able to fight with that to get that down. Okay, so now then we're done. So now we can move on to our hose up here. We're gonna have to do this flex hose next. So, man, all these freaking lines. So I'm gonna bend that out of the way, get that back. And we can also go ahead and let's pop our ratchet strap and get our pressure off our fuel lines. That way they don't have continuous pressure on them. Come up here and undo our ratchet strap out of the way. Pull it up and all of our fuel lines are perfectly fine. And they'll go right back to where they're supposed to be. No issues. Okay, for our flex hose, it starts right there, and it goes up inside there. We're gonna pull this pipe real fast. Pivot that out of the way like that. Now this is gonna give me some room to get up in here to this clamp. Okay, so next is most of the kits. Once you remove this line's actually a pain in the butt to remove. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut this line. I'm just put my razor blade right there. I'm gonna turn it like that. Bingo. Okay, so I'm gonna cut that. I'm not even gonna get in there and try to mess with undoing that stupid thing. And then take our hose clamp that comes with it. We're just gonna put it on and over like that. Just gotta get those clamps open up enough. And of course, it's too small. Why did they send me one that fits right? That won't make no sense. I'm gonna go find the hose clamp actually myself in the garage because this one's too small. And you probably don't even need a hose clamp over this, honestly. There you go. So now, if you ever need to undo anything, or if somebody knows what they're doing needs to undo anything, the factory stuff is still there, like the factory clip. Just tag out your way. See? So the factory clip is still on there, and I've got it just capped over the line, and this will also help you from fighting with that clip to get that clip undone. So it's a lot easier just to cut that with a razor blade and get that line out of there. And this is what that line looks like when it comes out of there. So all I did was just cut the end of it. Okay, and that can go in your scrap pile. That's trash. So that's gonna be it on that. That's our upper piece, our back piece, our rubber lines ran down there, and our cap's right there. Now we're gonna go under the truck and just zip tie the line up and route it out of the way. All right, so it comes down right there. And warning, when you undo all this, you're gonna probably leak some oil. So yeah, I am that guy in the suburbs that has the dirtiest driveway. But if you want to protect yours, make sure you put something down. So that's where it comes down, the back of the motor. Now all we're gonna do is we're gonna route the line, I think, up and over all of this. Come up here past your fuel bowl. I'm gonna just snake it behind all that. Okay, so you can see where it comes out right there. And then I'm gonna fold it up behind all these lines. So that way it's out of the way of my drive shaft. And now I'm just gonna zip tie it up. Okay, now routing it underneath your vehicle like that is gonna create smoke where it does when it's idling, you know, in the right circumstances at night especially. You could see smoke coming out from underneath the truck and rolling up sometimes in your mirrors. It's just a small amount, it's basically a vapor. But sometimes, like if you're in a McDonald's drive-through, you'll be vaporing them out when they open the window. It'll just smell like raw, burnt oil. If you're cool with that, then roll like this. If not, they do make kits that have a little bung that goes inside of the exhaust pipe so that it blows in an exhaust pipe, and then the heat from the exhaust pipe and the exhaust going out the back of the vehicle kind of burns it off a little more, and it comes out the tailpipe. Me, I don't care. I like simple things. I'd rather it just smoke underneath the truck than having to get underneath there, drill a hole in an exhaust pipe, and weld a bung in it. But there you are. That's how you do the CCV delete, and that is 2 tricks to make your job way easier and to take some shortcuts. And I will link in the description the kit that I bought if it's still available at this time, and I'll also screenshot the kit I bought and the price, just in case later date you're seeing this video and the kit is not available. That way you can kind of see what I did purchase and what the price was, and then you can maybe find another kit that's closer to saying. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's keep growing this.